Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video I'll be teaching you how to make a palazzo trouser. So the first line on this fabric is my waist, the second is my hip, the third is my crotch, the fourth is my thigh, and the one at 23.5 inches is my knee. So at that part over there I'm placing my tape rings in that manner because I'll be adding a band of 2.5 inches. That is why I'm placing the tape rule at 2 inches. Then I'm adding 2 inches to at the lower part for the hemming allowance. So on my crotch line, which is the third line, I will measure my hip measurement divided by 4 plus half inch. Then the same measurement plus half inch, the hip measurement divided by 4, I'll divide it into 4 again plus half inch. So I'll measure the hip measurement divided by 4 plus half inch at this upper part. So my hip is 40, so 40 plus half inch, 40 divided by 4, which is 10, plus half inch, that's 10.5, that's the 10.5, just like that, to the waistline. So now I will measure half inch at the waist area, then I'll connect it to the hip area down here. Then this part over here, I will just connect it to the hip area using a curve. Yeah, just to curve it like that. Then whatsoever I have. So now at my waist area, I'll measure my waist measurement divided by 4. That is, my waist is 30, so 30 divided by 4 is 7.5. I will add half inch that I will use to sew at that area. Then I'll add 1 inch, which is that allowance. So again, my waist measurement divided by 4, half inch for sewing at that area, then 1 inch for that allowance. So at the hip area, I don't have to do anything because I've measured my accurate measurement. So at the hip area, my hip was 40, so 40 divided by 4, which is 10, plus half inch, that's 10.5. Then the 10 divided by 4 again, 2.5, plus half inch, that's the 3 I measured there. So I'll measure the line I have at my thigh area, then I'll divide it by 2. So after dividing it by 2, I'll just transfer it down there just to draw a straight line down. That is when I measure it was 13 inches. So that's why I have 6.5 at the right, 6.5 by the left. So I'm just connecting this line down to the trouser. Please note this is a long trouser, but the camera cannot capture everything. Then I'll measure my thigh measurement at this area. So my thigh measurement, which is 24, yeah, it is 24. So 24 divided by 2, you divide your thigh measurement by 2, which is 12 inches. So for that 12 inches, I'll measure 6 to the right, 6 to the left. That's 12 altogether, like that. I'm trying to adjust my measurement. So your thigh measurement will be divided by 2. So this is my new measurement. My new measurement is 18. So 18 divided by 2, which is 9. So I measured 4.5 to this side, 4.5 to the other side. I'm just trying to explain again. So this is my ankle, and my ankle measurement is 14 inches. So 14 divided by 2, which is 7. So that means 3.5 to the right, 3.5 to the left. Then I will connect the line. So the initial measurement I'm drawing now is a normal pant trouser, but I'll now be changing it to a palazzo. That's how I cut my palazzo. But this initial measurement I just drew and drafted is for a pant. Please note that your thigh measurement, your knee measurement, and your ankle is divided by 2, but all other measurements are divided by 4. That is, your waist and your hip will be divided by 4. Now to make the palazzo, I'll be increasing this by 1 inch to the right and 1 inch to the left. Then I'll be connecting it to the hip area. So I'll be connecting that part down to the hip area, or to the thigh area, So I'll be connecting it down there. Please, if you haven't given this video a thumbs up, please give this video a thumbs up right now. It really helps. Thank you. Then I'll connect this one to the tie, just the 1 inch. So this will give the trouser the freeness, that is the palazzo effect. So now the next thing to do now is just to cut. If you notice, we haven't added any seam allowance to the side or whatsoever. We haven't added any seam allowance, so we'll be adding it to the back pattern, to the back bodies. We'll be adding it to it. The only allowance we added was just for the crotch area, that is, which is the 1/2 inch. So this is what I have after cutting. This is what it looks like. Then I'll go ahead and cut the back. So I folded the back to it, and after folding I increase it by 1.5 inches. So from the top there, I will slant down to the waist area. I'll just slant it down. The reason for this, for the additional 1.5, is that, you know, our back side is more bigger than the front area. The front does not have the bum bum, but the back has the bum bum. So for it to accommodate it, that's why we added the 1.5. Now, I'm sorry you couldn't see this part over here, but I will still show you. I extended it by 1 inch. Then I'm connecting it again. I'm not following the initial curve. I'm just connecting it again with my French curve to draw another line, which will serve as the crotch for the back. The crotch I do use for the back is always different from the front, because if I use this one for the front, it will be too tight. That's why I do redraw my back crotch curve. So at this area, I will show you now. So at that part, I increased it by 1 inch. Then from that 1 inch, that is the line I ruled up there. Yeah, so that is the line I just used my French curve to connect it to the additional 1.5 over there. I hope you understand. Then this additional 1 inch, I will just connect it to somewhere close, just somewhere close by, just additional small extension kind of. So that's what I have. So that's what I'll be doing for this side. Then for this other side, I'll be adding 2 inches. These 2 inches will serve as my seam allowance. That is, I'll be sewing with half inch. That is 1/2 inch on both sides, that's 1 inch, and on the other side, that's 2 inches. That's the 2 inches I'm just adding. So I'll just add it. I'll add it all around like that. You know, when we're cutting the front measurement, it's like we use the exact measurement. So this 2 inches additional, this 2 inches is just serving as the seam allowance. Then I'll connect it downward. Just follow the curve by adding 2 inches all through. Please and please and please, if you haven't given this video a thumbs up, please do that now. Thank you. And drop your comments in the comment section. So I'm cutting out my back bodies. So now to do the dart, I'll just measure 4 inches. But before the 4 inches, I'm leaving the allowance of 1/2 inch that we used to join that area. Then I'll measure my 4 inches. In another way, you can just extend this line we drew at this lower part. You can just extend it up and do your dart at that area. Or you can just do your desired dart. So I'm going 1/2 inch to the right, 1/2 inch to the left, and the length of this dart is 4 inches, because you know we are still adding a band. So if it is longer than that, it won't look nice. So that's the dart. I'm just notching the midpoint so that I can know when I want to fold. So this is the dart. So for the band, I have 6 inches. So when I fold, it's 3, and when I sew, it will be 2.5 inches. So this is for the back, and that is for the front. So this is what we have. Then it's time for us to join. So I'll be joining this part, but for the back, I won't be joining it full because there will be a zipper at the back. So I measured 7 inches over here, so my joining will start after the 7 inches. So I'll just go ahead and sew and also make the dart. So this is what I have after sewing and making the dart. And this is the front bodice too, after sewing and also making the dart. So now it's time to draft the design that is at the front of our palazzo. So I folded this fabric into 4, then I place it at this area. As you can see that it is slant, and the fabric is ½ inch more than the joining line at that midpoint. It's ½ inch more than the joining line. This is because, you know, I'll be sewing this with ½ inch. I'll be taping this part with ½ inch. So after taping it, it will fall back to the midpoint. As you can see, it is not straight. So I just pin it like that. Then I'm flipping it over to the right side. To the wrong side rather. I'm flipping it over. Then I'll take the measurement I want to take. So I'm trying to straighten it so that it won't be folded inside. Then I'll measure my hip line, my hip length. So whatever I have, I'll mark it down there, my hip length. Then I'll add additional 3 inches after it. Then I will cut out the excess fabric by the side. I'll just follow the side of the trouser to trim out the pattern. Then this one over here, I'll just rule it out. That is the point I want it to get to. I'll just rule it out. Then I'll cut it. The length of this design is your hip measurements plus 3 inches. So that's the length. So after cutting, this is what it looks like. Then I'll slant it from that 3 inches. From that 3 inches to the tip of that side. I'll just slant it like that. So after slanting, I'll cut it out. And this is how the design will look like. So this is what it's looking like. Then I'll do the same. I'll just take this out, then I'll use it to cut for the other side. So I'm trying to open it up because it is 2. So I've been using 2 each for both sides. So this is the other side, and this is the other one. As you can see, it is lapping, but after sewing, it will fall back to the original measurements. So now I'll go ahead and add my stay to it. So I added stay to the 4 pieces. So I added a medium stay and a very soft stay. That is the gum stay and a very soft stay to each one of them. I don't want it to be too thick because my fabric is not that thick. So I'm trying to place them on each other because, you know, they almost have the same curve. So you have to be careful while placing it so that you don't make mistake. So this is it. So I went ahead to cut my pattern fabric, which is like 2 inches wide. Then on the wrong side of this, so this is how it will look. This is how it will look like this is how it will look like. Then I'll place this fabric on it. make sure that the part that is facing up for this carton color fabric is the side you want to make as the wrong side. So in case you didn't fix, in case you note the way you fix your stay, please note that the part facing that side should be the wrong side. Then after sewing, you flip it over, then you sew on it. Then after sewing, this is what it will look like. As you can see, it has balanced out at this area. It has balanced out because we've sewn with ½ inch, so everything is now balanced. Then you pin it down. You pin it down so that it doesn't move. So this is our band. I've added my stay to the band. Then we placed it in between. I've added my stay and I've folded it in. So I'll just place it in between. I'll place it in between. Then I will sew. So I'm trying to pin it in so that I can know what I'm doing. So you do the same thing for the back too. The back does not need any design or whatsoever. You just have to fix the band to the back. So I'm trying to trim out this excess band. So what you can just do in this area is to measure your waist measurements. So for the front bodice, it will be your accurate waist measurements. So since my waist was 30, I should be measuring 7.5 there. So now this part too, you just trim it out because there is excess. Just trim it out by following the curve. Then you trim it out to balance with the crotch curve. Then the other side too, if there's excess fabric there, you trim it out using your waist measurements. So this is what we have. Then you place your front bodice on it. You sew with ½ inch. Then you sew the other parts too. Then after sewing, this is what I have. After sewing, this is what I have. Then opening it up, this is what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing, for liking, for commenting, and I will see you in my next video. So the only thing remaining for this trouser is just the zip at the back, and you can use any zip. You can use an invisible zip or a normal skirt zip, but I feel a normal skirt zip will be too short for this, so I'll just use a blouse zip, then I'll fix my zip. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.